Welcome to Mastering in the Box, and in this week's video we're going to take a look at how we can achieve balance with our masters by looking at point and counterpoint mastering. Hello and welcome to Mastering in the Box. I am your host Smudge, and for the past few weeks we've been taking a look at Studio One 5 and the project page and looking at the stock plugins inside of Studio One and how we can use them to create great sounding masters. If you haven't checked out any of those videos, then make sure you go back. I'll leave links in the description down below, and if you want to learn more about digital mastering, don't forget to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below, and don't forget to click the bell and select all to receive notifications on all of our videos moving forward. This week I had every intention of looking at the Pro EQ plugin and doing a little bit of an overview of how we can use it in our masters. So I started to prepare the project for this week's video, and it kind of got me thinking about the general principles of mastering. And when we look at mastering, we are looking to achieve a cohesive and balanced sound. But invariably what we do is when we make a move in the master, whether that be an EQ move or a compression move, what generally tends to happen is we have to then make a counter move to balance what we do. So this is where we get the point and counterpoint principle. So what do we mean? If we look at a mix, we are effectively going to take all of the sound sources in a song to make a balanced, cohesive mix. So we will get the kick drum. How does that interact with the bass guitar? How does the low end of the electric guitar interact with the bass guitar? Where does the snare fit in? How do we get that to fit into the track? Then we've got to start thinking about the vocals. The vocals, are they very mid-range heavy? Is it quite a lot of air on the top end? And if there is quite a lot of air from the vocals, how does that then interact with these cymbals, hi-hats, etc, etc? And then what we do is we use techniques and compression and EQ and all of that goodness to create space for all of the individual elements. When it comes to mastering, firstly, we don't have the individual elements to work with, so generally we will have one stereo file. But secondly, it's not really the role of the mastering engineer to start replacing a mix. It's down to us to enhance the mix where it needs enhancing. But when you're working with a stereo file in this way, what will invariably happen is we will make a move to enhance the mix, but we would generally have to make a counter move to achieve balance. So let's take a look at this in action. For this week's song we are featuring another song by the artist Nik Graveswell. This song's called Spread Your Wings and is on the EP Songs to Drink To. I'll leave links in the description down below, but check it out. So when approaching this project this week, I've normalised the audio just to raise the levels up a bit, and then we're using the limiter to limit the sound just to ensure there's no digital clipping. We got the usual level meter in post, and I'm just using a bit of RX7. There was just a few artifacts at the top end which I wanted to take out, but really with this track it just needs some dynamic balancing, and there's quite a lot of top end that needs taming, and we're going to see if we can just give some more oomph and body to the low end as well. Let's take a listen. Okay, so one of the first things that I really wanted to do is, as I say, just add some body to the overall track, and what we can look to do is just apply some gentle compression. Now when we're looking at a relatively dynamic sound, what the compression is going to do is it's not only going to just take the peaks down, but it's also going to raise up the quieter levels, and it's just going to give the whole track some body. So how can we do this? Well, let's actually reach for the fat channel. We're just going to apply a gentle bit of compression, and in this instance, so we're not using the gate EQ limiter, it is just the compressor, and I'm using the Brit Comp for this. I love the Brit Comp, it's a great bus style compressor. We are using a 2:1 ratio. The makeup gain is literally just counteracting the reduction, and we have got a moderate attack and a moderate release. So let's take a listen with this engaged. So it's just added that nice, gentle, subtle compression that we're looking for. It's just given the track some more overall body. Now, the other thing, top end. I really wanted to use some form of Deesser, but there's no stock Deesser inside of Studio One. So what I'm actually going to do is use the multiband dynamics and just use it as some form of Deesser. So in this particular instance, let's engage it. Let's bypass the mid, and we're just going to focus on the high end. So let's bypass this. We'll listen to the track, and then just going to listen afterwards to see what the multiband dynamics is doing. Let's just take another listen. All I'm going to do is just solo the high end, just so we can really see what the multiband is doing to that top end. So it's really just adding that control to the high end. It's taming some of that harshness and to giving the overall top end some more balance. So now we've taken a look at the dynamics, but this is where I start talking about the counterpoint. So we've done the point. We wanted to apply some compression to bring the overall body up. We wanted to tame the high end. But one of the things I started to realise is we're lacking that energy. So we're lacking some energy in the low end. Yes, it's more consistent, but we want to try and get some more oomph, make it a little bit more exciting. And whilst we've taken the harshness out from the high end, actually we want to start to emphasize the vocal a bit more. So with the high end, a lot of the harshness was coming from the hats and the cymbals, but now we've done that top end compression from the multiband dynamics. We just need to start bringing up the vocal a little bit more. This is where EQ can be your friend. So let's take a look at the Pro EQ. What have we done? So first and foremost, let's take a look at the low end. We are looking at adding 90 Hertz, and it's just 1.24 dB. This is just going to enhance the kick, but it's more the bass guitar. The bass guitar tends to get buried, and just by adding a little bit around the 90 Hertz just really gives some more weight and some more body to the bass. We're also having a look at the low mids. The nasal, there's a lot of nasal in this particular track because of the guitars. There's a lot of that kind of that honkiness around the 800 Hertz mark. So what I've actually done is I've used quite a wide Q and just taken out 1.32 dBs. But where we tame the high end, let's say we just really want to start to emphasize the vocal a bit more. So we're looking at a high mid frequency, a slight bump using the bell curve. It's literally 0.7 of a dB at 5.86k, quite a wide Q again. But then we're also looking at a high shelf, and it's less than a dB, 0.96 of a dB at 11k, just to give us some more air. So let's take a listen with the EQ engaged, and then we'll bypass it so you can get a nice comparison.
So spread your wings out into the sky. If it came crashing down, and what would you think if it was gone in a blink?
So like I say, this is where we can start to use EQ as that counterpoint. We used the point with the compression and we're using a counterpoint with the EQ. There's still one thing that wasn't quite right for me. I'm going to go back to the multi-band dynamics, and it's the snare. What I actually did is I went back and used a slight mid-frequency compression. Once again, ratio 2:1, literally just a balancing with the gain. Let's take that off and let's take another listen with that slight adjustment to the multi-band dynamics.
As it slips away faster than before, you're chasing that dream, you decide to fly. So spread your wings out into the sky. But what would you do if it came crashing down?
So there we are. This isn't by any stretch of the imagination a finished master, but I just really wanted to emphasise the fact that if you start thinking about point and counterpoint and trying to achieve balance, you'll really be able to start to enhance your mastering skills and get that really nice cohesive sound you're searching for. Let's take a last listen to the song. I'm going to bypass all the inserts. We'll put them in so we can see what we're doing to the overall master, and let's get a good comparison.
As it slips away faster than before, you're chasing that dream, you decide to fly. So spread your wings out into the sky. But what would you do if it came crashing down?
So that's it for this week's video. I just wanted to give you a brief overview on looking at mastering from a point and counterpoint perspective, and by doing so you can start to achieve greater balance with your masters. Next week I'm going to take it to the next level and start looking into the splitter tool and how we can use some form of mid-side processing to really enhance the sound further. So we can start looking at the mono signals, so looking at things like the kick and bass and how we can use EQ and compression to really enhance those. But also we'll start looking at the stereo field and how we can use some EQ on the left and right to really get some more stereo width. I hope you found this video useful, and if you've tried this technique and method and you start to get some really good results, please let me know how you're using it in the comments down below, because I'll be really keen to understand and I really want to know how you are using these to really enhance your mastering. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below, and don't forget to click the bell and select all so you receive notifications on all of our videos moving forward. All that's left for me to say is I hope you'll keep safe and well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video real soon.